Okay, Baruch Hashem, another 5 minutes of bitachon. To bring out one idea that we said yesterday, we said it slightly quickly to make sure it was not missed, is in footnote number 5. The Stipler asks the obvious question. We're talking about that lack of bitachon. We're discussing that fear could bring upon the more fear, the downfall, bigger issues, and we're going to elaborate upon that today. But says the Stipler, but what do you mean? There's the natural fears, the natural anxieties. There's life. There's things to be afraid of. What? I'm not allowed to be afraid? Well, God wants me to be superhuman? So note number 5, he brings down that the Stipler says, of course not. There are natural fears. There are issues. There are problems. Okay. Do you then embrace the fear, live in the fear, and get consumed by the fear? Or do you, at the moment of fear, take a deep breath? Realize there's a God in this world. Understand Hashem is there holding your hand. Realize you've had this issue and you've gotten through it. Maybe pause for a moment and connect and thereby get over the fear. Or do you embrace and bring on more fears? The embracing, the bringing on more fears, that's what we lead into chapter 3, in which we learn how the fears create bigger issues. And continues the Bais HaLevi. And he quotes from the Gemara in Brachos. We'll read, Yehuda bar Nasan, Havishakal va'azar basri de Rav Hanuna. So Yehuda bar Nasan is walking behind Rav Hanuna, and he's listening. What do you do when you walk behind someone? Of course, you listen. What's the guy in front of you doing? So he wasn't on a conversation. He wasn't doing anything strange. What did he do? Itnach. He sighed. It was a long day. He took a deep breath. And Yehuda bar Nasan from behind realized he was anxious, realized he was worried. So what did he say to him? Amar lei, Rav Amnuna said to him, Yisurim ba'iyahu gavra la'asuya nafshay. Do you want to bring Yisurim upon yourself? Interesting question. Do you want to bring? He was sighing, he was anxious, he was in pain. From his question, what do we see? He was saying to him that by sighing, by being anxious, by bringing on more fears, you're bringing on larger issues onto yourself. And he quotes the pasuk from Eov, Pachad pachadati, because I was afraid, v'yasayeni, therefore it overtook me. The reason he succumbed was because of the fear. And in note number 7, he brings down an incredible mashal of the Maral. The Maral in Nisivas Olam, Nisiva Bitachon, such a beautiful, he doesn't need my askama, but such a beautiful mashal. Picture 2 scenes. Each scene has a tremendous log, a wide log, a big, not just a little branch, a little thing, a big log. In one scene, this log is lying across the floor. So you see scene A, you walk up to there, you see this massive log, 20 feet long, without even thinking. What do? You walk onto the log and you walk across. It's not slippery. It's not narrow. It's simple. Piece of cake. You walk across the log. And then you go into scene 2. Scene 2 is the exact same log, 20 feet long, wide, not slippery. It just suspended 100 feet in the air. And underneath, in case it wasn't scary enough, is a raging river with some rocks in it. And you get up there onto the roof and you see this massive log. A moment ago, you just walked across without any thought. There wasn't a problem. It wasn't difficult. You didn't even shake for a moment. All of a sudden now you're 100 feet up in there. All of a sudden you look down. You get all afraid. Rachmana litzlan, we know what's going to happen. You take the first step. You take the second step. You start wobbling. You start shaking. Hashem Yirachim. What happened? The fear, the anxiety, the pachad pachaditi caused a much larger issue. If this is not reason enough to want to embrace bitachon, if this is not reason enough to say, I need to stop for a few minutes and realize how I could live with Hashem. As we learned in chapter 1, how the Goyim taught us that what does it mean to live with emunah? We know there's a God. We know He's running the world. We know He's holding our hand. We know He's right with us. But living with that is bitachon. And here in chapter 3, the Bais HaLevi begins by teaching us that if we're going to be afraid, if we're going to be fearful, if there's going to be pachadim, if there's going to be anxieties, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that same simple situation could cause a catastrophic result. The fear brings upon the terrible outcomes.